Well, it looks like we've officially defeated the EA launcher, so what about anti-cheat? After that, let's talk about how SteamOS just keeps getting bigger. And finally, Valve is changing the Steam sales in a really cool way once again. How's it going, everyone? As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne. This is Deck Ready, my channel all about the Steam Deck. This video is sponsored by FlexiSpot and their C7 Max chair. Every time FlexiSpot hits me up for a sponsorship, I immediately say yes because everything they've sent me so far has been nothing short of excellent, and the C7 Max does not break the trend. I'm gonna level with you guys. As someone who's a one-man show over here in my basement running 4 different YouTube channels, I am in my chair a lot editing. And the C7 Max is the perfect chair for me because it's both ergonomic and durable. You can't tell because you never see my legs, but I'm a pretty tall guy, so being able to adjust this chair to my height makes it a cut above the rest. It's got a 3D headrest that's fully adjustable. You can adjust the lumbar support, and it has seat depth features, so you can really dial it in to your specific height. And it's the perfect chair for when I want to transition my desk into the racing setup of my dreams. I just slide the chair out, move my rig in, and slide the chair back. It's that easy. And the 0.2-inch latex seat cushion is very comfortable. It's got memory foam, so it's soft and supportive, and it's rated for 12 hours of sitting. If you want to try one out for yourself, and you definitely should, there's a 30-day refund policy for a risk-free trial, and there's a 10-year warranty with direct replacement for damaged parts. Remember to use my code in the description to get the best price, and if you're on a limited budget, there's also the C5 chair, which has great build quality and more limited adjustment features, but it should be just fine if you're on that limited budget. Upgrade your workspace with FlexiSpot, and don't miss out on the FlexiSpot anniversary sale. You can enjoy up to 60% off site-wide. Use my code C750 to get $50 off the C7 Max at the link in the description below. Huge shout out once again to FlexiSpot for sponsoring this video. But with that out of the way, let's jump into the first news story here. So out of nowhere, Battlefield 6 looks like it's going to be the biggest game of 2025. I know it's probably not going to get Game of the Year nominations because you know how game journalists are. The people who vote on Game of the Year, they're not playing Battlefield. They're playing like Ricky's Whimsical Adventure, this new puzzle game for the Switch 2 that I just completely made up. So even if it's the best Battlefield ever, it's not going to get the right praise from all the critics, and that's fine. I'm very excited for it. I'm glad that it looks like it runs well. I'm glad that it's only 30 gigabytes if the rumors are to be believed. The maps look awesome. The gunplay looks awesome. It looks like the Battlefield I grew up with, which was 3 and 4. I played the hell out of those games back in the day, and I could not be more excited to play this game this October. So I had one of those moments where I was like really excited, and then I read another news story and my excitement dropped to the floor lower than where I started, which really sucks. So the exciting part is that this is another game from EA that is not going to require the EA app if you play it on Steam. And it gets one step better because if you buy this game on Epic Game Store, the 6 or 10 of you who might want to do that, you're going to have to log into the EA app. So the Steam players are getting a little bit of a bonus over the Epic Game Store players, and that's fine with me because I really don't like the Epic Game Store. So with Dragon Age, where they took the EA app out, they said no one needs it to play the game on Steam. A lot of people saw that as a situation where they knew the game was going to fail, so they were trying to do every little thing they could to get some of that goodwill back to maybe recoup some of the big loss that they were about to take. That's another reason people thought it was Steam Deck verified, even though it ran and still runs like hot garbage on the Steam Deck. Like they were doing everything they could to get people to want to play their game, just like Ubisoft, I'm pretty sure, did with the Rogue Prince of Persia and maybe Assassin's Creed Shadows. Like you can line it up where it's like if the game is a game that the company is nervous about, they're more consumer friendly because that's how the world works. But Battlefield is more hype behind it than maybe even Battlefield 1 did back in the day. Like people are stoked for it, so they probably could have gotten away with putting the EA launcher in there, even though it would have pissed people off. So I'm officially declaring the war on the EA launcher tentatively dead. Like I think for now, it looks like every EA game that comes to Steam going forward will probably allow you to bypass the launcher, and that is excellent. I hope other companies like Ubisoft take charge and also remove their launchers because you don't need a launcher on Steam. It's not just annoying on the Steam Deck, it's annoying on SteamOS as a whole, and it's annoying on Windows to have to log into a launcher. I was playing the Crew Motorfest on Friday, and I had an old version of Ubisoft's launcher on my Windows PC. It just wouldn't open. So I had to uninstall it, I had to download it from Ubisoft's website, I had to reinstall it, then I had to launch the game, and it was like, oh, this is wrong. So it kind of reinstalled it again. Long story short, I sat down at 9 and I wasn't even in the Crew Motorfest until 10:30 because of this stupidly long process. So we don't need any launchers anymore going forward. That is a fact. But because it's EA, when it comes to the Steam Deck, there's another lane in which they're perennially the worst, and that is with anti-cheat, because, you know, a lot of their games, multiplayer, worked fine on the Steam Deck for a long time, like Battlefield 1, which a lot of people had fun with on the Steam Deck, and then bam, one day they wake up and suddenly EA puts a new version of easy anti-cheat into the game that renders it useless on the Steam Deck. So this time, unlike other developers, they're not making us wait. And what I mean by that is some developers will just not say anything and we'll have to wait till the game actually comes out to see if it has anti-cheat or not. Vince Zampella straight up said that because of Battlefield's Javelin, easy anti-cheat, whatever you want to call it, software that works for anti-cheat, it's not going to work on the Steam Deck, which is such a bummer because everything I've seen from the minimum requirements to the recommended requirements makes it look like this game probably would run pretty decent on the Steam Deck. And I know a lot of people like the finals because it has some destruction tech like Battlefield. It's not the same if the art style isn't modern military. Like, something about the finals art style just does not work for me, and I don't know what it is. It just feels very like that iPod commercial that Group Love was in from back in the day, where everything is like white and shiny and there's like colored balls everywhere. It just doesn't work for me. I like playing it with my friends. It's just not my go-to Battlefield replacement. If you really are in need of that Battlefield fix, like you're excited about the announcement and you want to get that ticketing system where you have squads and everything like that, one game I looked up is Delta Force. My buddy Justin Guns has been playing that. He said it doesn't run on the Steam Deck. It did when it came out and it ran great, but now it doesn't anymore, so that's a bummer. But BattleBit Remastered, it had a weird arc where like it came out, got huge, then the developers disappeared and stopped updating it, but now they're back with a huge update that's coming out very soon that looks like it might revitalize the game. And the best thing about that is that BattleBit Remastered works great on the Steam Deck. So hopefully we don't have too long to wait for the update, but the game still does work in the meantime, so you could try that out. I know it's not the same, like offering alternatives, that's the worst. It bugs me when other people do that, but like, it just bums me out, man. I feel so just defeated when it comes to this anti-cheat situation. I want to know who these Linux cheaters are, and if you're one of them, please stop, because you're hurting the entire thing as a whole. Even if it is the cheaters though, I doubt that's actually the reason. I feel like it's just because they don't want to invest the resources into testing, and because there's only like 4 or 5 million people out there using Linux to play these games in the first place. That's an easy cutoff point for them when it comes to, you know, supporting their games after launch. But if the Steam Deck 2 comes out and SteamOS gets on more devices and more people start getting into the ecosystem, I could definitely see them reversing course on this, because we know that their games have worked well in the past. Regardless, EA app seems like it's officially dead. That is the silver lining here, but anti-cheat is going to continue to be a thorn in our side. It's like one step forward, one step back. We're really in the exact same spot we always were in, because if the game doesn't work, the game doesn't work. But speaking of Linux kind of taking over some of Windows dominance, it looks like the numbers are continuing to rise, because we got the Valve hardware survey results for July and they're looking pretty good. So the weird thing is Windows user share dropped by 0.44%, which seems small, but the amount of people that are on Steam, that's like millions of people. And Linux's share went up to 0.32%. So, you know, Windows is still king of Steam, and I think it will be for a while, but to see Valve continually going up after a short period where it was kind of staying stagnant or dropping just a little bit, that's awesome in my opinion. It shows that things like the Legion Go S with SteamOS, allowing SteamOS to be installed on the ROG Ally and Ally X, the original Legion Go, and pretty much any PC you want at this point, as long as it's AMD and AMD for CPU and GPU. That's really helping people kind of move on from Windows. The thing that's going to continue to be the biggest thorn in their side is 100% anti-cheat, because you're always going to need a Windows partition to play a lot of multiplayer games that are big. And I feel like Valve understands that, and they are going to continue to work hard in the future to fix it. But the thing that's going to help them is getting more people in on Linux so that they can go to EA and say, hey, we have a lot of people. We have tens of millions of people on Linux right now playing on Steam that just want to play your game. We will help you figure out how to get anti-cheat that works running on Linux. Maybe Valve could even pick up the cost, but that's thinking pretty far ahead into the future. The point is, right now, things are looking really good for SteamOS. It's growing consistently with 3-year-old hardware, and having the benefit of being able to install it on newer hardware like the Legion Go S is only helping it out even more. And honestly, it's not that I hate Windows. I do enjoy using it specifically with my racing wheel. It's very simple to set up. I liked playing F125 over the weekend with my wheel. It was great. I just think SteamOS is better. I prefer it. I like the Steam integration and operating system look and feel as a whole. And I love that it's kind of like baby's first Linux. Like, I've been able to learn so much about how Linux works just using SteamOS that once I got on Bazite, doing things like going into the terminal and typing in "you just update" felt weirdly hackery, even though it's not. It's like the simplest thing ever. It just is not something I would have been interested in or confident enough to do in the past before getting into SteamOS. The overall number of people using Linux, if you look at the total number of Steam accounts, is around 5 million. So it looks like either Steam Decks have gone up, which is good, or SteamOS's share has gone up from other devices using it. That's good for SteamOS because it gives Valve a reason to continue providing support to the operating system, and I really have no complaints about any of this. I think it's good. I'd like to see the number continue to rise. Don't feel weird that the numbers are so low of the percentage changes. Like, Windows has such utter dominance over the amount of people gaming on PC in the first place that it's going to continue to be small numbers chipping away at them, but then we're going to wake up one day and it could be 50-50. Who knows? It might take a while, but it could happen. Anyway, that brings me to the third news story here, which is more changes coming to Steam soon, and those are the Steam sales. The Steam sales are changing, and in my opinion, they're getting better. So they've already kind of started this year. You might have noticed that there have been a lot more festivals on Steam, like, you know, the Racing Fest that just wrapped up August 4th, where they pick a genre and give it an entire sale on the Steam front page where they give discounts on games in that genre. It looks like that's working because in 2026, they've announced that they're going to get even more granular with it. So like, while that one was the Steam Racing Fest, they might do the Steam Racing Sim Fest, or they might do the Steam Arcade Racer Fest, or like the Street Racing Fest. Like, it could get more granular with it and tree down and find very specific games in a niche genre and put them in front of people who maybe haven't played those types of games before. And I think that's great because game discovery continues to be one of the hardest things to get over with Steam. There are just so many games on there that, like, when you type in a category like zombie games, it's not just Zomboid and Left 4 Dead 2 that it pulls up. It pulls up any game that was ever tagged with zombies. So like, weird mobile games get thrown in the mix, Plants vs. Zombies gets thrown in the mix, anything that like kind of has zombies like Killing Floor gets thrown in the mix, like anything that might have any aspect that's related to zombies gets thrown in the mix. So it's kind of hard to actually find what you're looking for. If you're someone who likes survival horror, you'll be pissed if you ever search for the survival horror tag on Steam and see how many games that go willy-nilly and add themselves to the actual survival horror group. And it's like, you're not survival horror, dude. Like, stop doing that. So by boosting these more niche sales, they're not only raising awareness of games that you might not have ever heard of, because, you know, games like Call of Duty, games like Need for Speed, games like Assetto Corsa just buried the top of the top played and top selling list forever in the genre lists that you can find on Steam. And then, you know, the good games get kind of buried down, especially if they're new. They're also giving discounts on top of that. So it's really incentivizing you to not only find new games, but try new games for cheap. And I feel like that's a real win overall. Something that made me laugh during the racing sale, though, was that it wasn't all discounted. Like, if you looked at any of the Microsoft games, they weren't discounted. So Forza Motorsport, which is dead at this point, that wasn't discounted. It should be for how piss poor that game is. Also, Forza Horizon 5 wasn't discounted. Like, it seems like Microsoft is really just being petty about their whole little war skirmish they've got going on with Valve that I'll remind you they started when they partnered up with Asus for the ROG Ally and the new Xbox ROG Ally and the Xbox full screen platform, whatever it's called. It's such a bad name. I don't even know what it's called. So it was kind of dumb to see them not really participate in the Racing Fest, but I'd like to see Valve maybe work with creators. Like, you know, Avalanche Reviews is my favorite survival horror review YouTube channel. The guy seems like a cool dude on top of just having a really good channel. So like, check it out if you haven't. I'd love to see him kind of curate a sale of like his favorite indie Resident Evil clones. And it could be called Avalanche's Resident Evil Clone Fest or something like that. Who knows? The sky's the limit. When you get granular with it and allow those sales to happen, that opens up so many new possibilities for things to get better and get more games on people's Steam Decks or gaming PCs, and what's to complain about there. So yeah, that's about all I've got for you on today's video. I hope you're having a great week. Again, go check out my horror channel, Jimmy Champagne. I'm doing the same videos I'm doing here, but about horror movie news. There's a lot less horror movie news somehow than Steam Deck news. Like, I have to search for a lot of topics on this channel, and a lot of it is just based on what I'm doing on my deck. I watch horror movies. I'm tuned into that space. And some weeks it's like everything is happening, and some weeks it's like nothing is happening, but I'm going to do my best to make sure a video is up every single Friday going forward. Also check out my other channel, Real Ones. I just finished my video on why Friday the 13th had 16 years of nothing. I'm really excited to post that. I'm trying to figure out the angle on Hell House LLC. If you've never seen that movie, one of the best found footage movies, one of the best Halloween movies ever. The sequels, some people love them, some people hate them. I'd say more people hate them because they're not very good, but it's got such a good vibe that I enjoy watching them. I just got to figure out a good angle for it that's not just like why I love Hell House LLC, because I feel like that's completely oversaturated on YouTube. But yeah, I'm working my ass off over here. I hope you guys enjoy the videos because I love making them. As always, guys, my name is Jimmy Champagne. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching and shape on.